Then I had another really neat experience, if you want to hear about it.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Eject,
sure.
ejecting from a jet. Yeah, well, I was at Tyndall. It was 19, I think it was early 1955. Uh, and I was doing a weather. I was operations officer for a flying unit that was supporting the weapons controller school at Tyndall. We'd go up and they would control us by radar, doing simulated uh, intercepts. Anyway, it's about 5 o'clock. I took off for the weather check. The weather was a little marginal, so I was going out to see if we could do the mission for the day. So I take off and I'm going up in a T33 jet. Uh, and I'm passing through about 18,000 feet. And I'm still in the weather, and I get a fire warning light on my indicator, indicating I've got a fire in the plenum chamber, which is where the air comes in and the fuel mixes, and it causes the explosion that propels the jet. Anyway, I get a fire warning light, so I pull back my throttle. I call the tower, say I returning to base, have a problem here. And then when I pulled the throttle back, the light flickered and went out. And I'm heading back to base and letting down. And then the flight the red light comes on again, and uh, it I what you call stop cock the throttle, which cuts off all fuel to the engine, and the light flickers a little bit, and then comes on full red, and that's bail out. So to bail out, you're setting on basically a 37 millimeter cannon shell. That's what your seat is, and so you pull up one of the armrests, and that blows the canopy off. And then you got the other, and then you got a trigger on it. You're all strapped into the seat, and then you pull the trigger, and you're blown out with the seat uh, into the air. And then you're tumbling, of course, when you're going out, and you have to get rid of the seat. Now, nowadays, everything is automatic. You don't have to do anything. I mean, basically, it all happens in sequence. So you're tumbling, and so you release and of course you got all sorts of G forces working against you. But anyway, you find the release for the seatbelt. You open the seatbelt, and then you're thrown away from the seat. And then you're tumbling, and of course the seat's tumbling, and you don't know how far the way the seat is. So you have to make a determination of when you're going to pull that ripcord, because you don't want to pull the ripcord and have the seat tangle up into the parachute. So anyway, you do that, and then you pull the ripcord, and then you open up. Well, I was in the weather, and I was down to about 10,000 feet at the time that I blew out, and so I'm coming down, and everything went perfect. It was all training, and it was all sort of automatic for me doing what I did. And then I break out at about 3,000 feet, and I'm in a big scene with your ear, your vertigo, and all that sort of stuff. When you're in the weather, you really don't know what positions you're in, what's happening. So I break out, and then I see I'm in a 90-degree swing, and the ground is coming up quick. So I grab the lanyards and the risers on the chute, and I get it just before I hit. I get it to settle down, and I hit. And I hit in the swamps. I was near Eglin Air Force Base where I hit, and of course they had a chopper ready to pick me up. And so 10 minutes later, they picked me up in a chopper. So everything went well. I didn't unhook the oxygen mask when I blew, and of course it's a attached to the seat. So when I released the seat, of course,
Oh.
the oxygen mask, uh, the 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 hose, just stretched out. Then it broke loose and smacked me in the head.
What?
So I had a little bruise on one of my eyes. I think it was this one. I still got a scar from it. Yeah.
Also, it's a good excuse for a scar. I mean, I once got into a fight at school, and I went to the ATC Air Training Corps, and the officer's like, "Why have you got this black eye?" And I kept silent, and he goes, "Fighting," and I went, "Yes," and he's like, this bad look on. So, like, when you ejected out, did the G forces damage you? Because you hear, like, nowadays with the modern jets, the G forces can compress people's spines.
No, I had no after effect from it. Like I said, it just a bruise on my eye. The you're asking me whether I had any damage.
Yeah, from the
Oh,
ejection. Yeah.
oh, yeah, I did have a compressed vertebrae, and that's what my back still hurts from it. But
Oh
I
wow.
never reported it, never, because if I would have complained about it, then I would have been taken off of flying status.
Uh,
so, so, so you sort of it wasn't severe enough where I couldn't be be active, but it's just going to be a real pain mostly at night and sleeping.
that's a lot. That's a lot of years of suffering, though. That's 60 odd years of suffering.
Yeah. Well, you get used to it. Actually, it doesn't bother you that much, except when you get older. I think when I started in my late 80s, I started really getting bothered by it. And now
Mm-hmm.
it takes me a while to get going in the morning, get the old bones uh, operating properly.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder why they make these jet seats so aggressive with the. Okay, you see those like air shows where you've only got like half a second to eject. You can understand why they need so much speed, but just in general, if I
Yeah,
guess most of the ejection seats, why does it have to be so violent? That I guess that's what
yeah.
they.
Well, it's just when you're traveling, and particularly nowadays when you're traveling at very high speeds, I think a lot of them they're capsules now that you bail your whole seat, your whole cockpit is a capsule that blows out. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what the really late, like the F-22 and the F-35 have for ejection. They better be pretty good at the speeds they're traveling.
You thought like it's so much force on your butt. What if they made some kind of ejection seat that pulls you up through your arms and shoulders as well as your back?
Yeah,
So like your
yeah,
back's not being so like if like instead of all the force being on your backside, it could be something that maybe holds on to your arms and shoulders and pulls you up as well. That might be maybe it's just too
yeah,
complicated.
yeah. Yeah,
So
like
maybe
I
that
said,
must be a good reason for them. I mean, maybe there's an opportunity there, a new ejection seat.
well, I don't know what was worse, injection or the bailing out at 300 feet.
Yeah, yeah. Because when you had to bail out after that same day you shot down that ace, how does that work? I guess for me, you just get off your seat, push it open, and jump out, and then open your parachute.
Yeah, yeah. It was very uncomplicated. You go over the side and uh, hope you have enough room between you and the ground for your chute to open.
Yeah, when I was in the air training corps, I was in a glider school for I think about 8 flights, and then I had a kind of Cessna type flying thing where I had a flight suit on and a parachute. But they never really trained us how to use it. They just basically said, if you have to jump out of the plane, this is what you pull. But probably if something happened, I would remember what that was. But I guess when you're a cadet, they don't expect you to. You're always, unless you're getting like a full license, you're always flying with somebody else that's not intended in crashing. So I used to want to be a pilot actually, but I kind of I wanted to have long hair at uni, so I wasn't in the university's fighter squadron. I kind of look back and wish I just cut my hair and tried it out a bit more. That would have been interesting. Yeah.